Okay, the 2019 Women's FA Cup finals finished 3-0 to Manchester City over West Ham. Um, First half was actually West Ham with a better side. Their tactics worked, and Man City played into those tactics by trying to play through the middle rather than going out wide to players like Nikita Paris to use their pace and their width, which I found kind of surprising. Now, if that was the deliberate tactic to tire out West Ham, it worked, but I don't think it was. I actually think there was basically Man City were poor. They played into West Ham's hands. They tried to play the Man City way, which is possession football, which can send you to sleep at times if the opposition are organised and refuse to be drawn out. West Ham, however, played a high energy, high press and played on a counter attack. That was their undoing in the end because the size of the Wembley pitch is one of the bigger pitches under FA rules and association rules for the size of a pitch can be allowed. And it is their first full season as professionals. So let that sink in as well that this West Ham side have only been professional as a group of players because some of them have played professionally before in the Women's Super League, but as a group of players and as a club, they've only been professional for this season. So to get to an FA Cup final, considering that they were part-timers or a part-time club, in the sense they were semi-pro last year, is no mean achievement. That is a pretty solid achievement in itself and shows good, healthy signs for the game, the women's game at least going forwards. The second half, there was a bit of rain, which I think contributed to the tiring side of West Ham. They looked very, very tired after half time. They'd put a whole lot of effort in the first half. Karen Bardsley obviously keeping up with a great attempt in the first half from a header. Second half was all Man City. The 3 goals, wow. The first one is a bit of a weird shot, bit of a wobbly shot. Morehouse, the goalkeeper, could and should do a lot better. Was it deflected? Was it just the extra spin on the ball? Was it just one of those shots that is a freak shot? Kira Walsh won't really complain. That's on 52 minutes. And at that point, Man City were wasteful between 52 and 80 minutes. They wasted a lot of opportunities. And there was still a chance that if West Ham could get a counter-attack, that they could go up the other end and get a goal. Because Man City were wasting a lot of opportunities. Very wasteful. A lot of shots not on target in this period between 52 and 80 minutes. They missed a lot of shots that, looking at the quality of women's player they have, and the quality of club that they are with the resources, the training campuses, all that the resources they put in, very surprising. Very surprising. How wild some of their finishing was, how rushed some of their finishing was, and that gave West Ham hope. Then Georgia Stanway scores a goal in 80 minutes, and she was the player of the match as well. That did take a slight deflection, which may have slightly wrong-footed the goalkeeper, but you can see that the West Ham defence for the first 2 goals were stepping off, standing back. They were at this point getting deeper and deeper and allowing the Man City attacking players more space, more freedom. And it's an unlucky one. On another day, that is a block shot, and it doesn't get through to the goalkeeper, but because they have the wet surface, it skids along the ground, it goes in. The Lauren Hemp goal, though, I don't understand what the goalkeeper is doing. I don't understand what the West Ham defence is doing. And the finish from a very young, talented player is something you would expect from the men's game, from a professional who's like a Ronaldinho type of player who's obviously got that skill in their locker to make a goalkeeper look foolish. When a goalkeeper rushes out like that, players can, get flustered. Not today. Great finish, and then that just shows how calamitous West Ham's defending was in the second half, with the tiring nature of the team as well. They were looking very tired after about 50 minutes. But you have to ask why the goalkeeper has come out that far and that wide out of the box as well. But it's a great finish. And then shortly afterwards, Lauren hits the post as well, then puts the rebound over the bar. So it could have been 4-0, which would have been harsh on West Ham because of the amount of effort they put in. They really put a shift in. And as I say, they've only been a professional club for the women's game for this season. So before this season, they weren't professional. They were semi-pro or amateur. in their history. So the fact that in their first professional season they get to a cup final should not be sniffed at. That should not be disrespected. That is a great effort and shows good signs for the women's game going forward. Now on the notes of the day, as I say, the attendance was 43,264, which is the second highest attendance for an FA Cup final in the women's game ever. I think last year's was the record. So while it didn't beat last year's record, it's still a healthy attendance considering that one of the clubs is from the north of England. I think the FA were banking on the fact that West Ham, being the London club, would attract more fans. But I say this, they've only been a professional outfit for a year. It takes a long time for fans to buy into a new thing. It doesn't happen overnight. But if West Ham had won this game, then next year, yes, more people will be interested in the women's game. Because Man City have won the competition before and they're a more established team, they already have an established fan base. While it's good for women's football that it was an exciting second half and there were goals going in and there was action, West Ham, they're growing and this is a good platform for them to build off. But had they won the game, I think more fans would have tuned in possibly. But we shall see what happens with next year's FA Cup final for the women and if the attendance is higher or lower, and that will see us the ongoing trend of women's football and the support there. The other note of the day, Man City have won the cup without conceding a single goal on the route to the final and in the final itself. I'm not sure if that's been done before. I think it probably has been done, considering the great Arsenal women's ladies teams of the past and the women's team from Fulham. Those teams have had great success. But as far as I'm aware, in the professional era, it hasn't been done in women's football. And I don't think it's ever been done in the men's game either. So that is a stat that I'll have to double check, but they did go their whole cup run without conceding a goal. That should not also be sniffed at. That is some going, considering what the two games that I've seen of Man City ladies, their defence at times has looked shaky. The first half against West Ham and parts of the second half against Chelsea in the semi-final. There were moments where I wasn't sold on the defence, and I've never really been sold on Man City's defence, be it in the men's team or the women's team. They clearly rely on their offensive capabilities and outscoring the opposition, because whenever I see either side play defensively, I'm not sold on the Man City way being solid defensively. We shall find out if the men's team can repeat what the women's team have done in the men's final, and we'll see if defensively they can also keep a clean sheet. And that's interesting to note. But there we go. I'll leave that there. Thank you very much for watching. The Women's FA Cup Finals finished 3-0 to Manchester City. And let's see if the Man City men's team can repeat a double, which will be really interesting to see if that can be done. I don't think that's been done where a men's and women's team from the same club have won the same competition in their respective fields before in the same year. That'll be interesting to see if that's been done. And thank you very much for watching. I'll have some more videos for you very, very soon. Please like and subscribe, and goodbye for now.